Scaphism, known as the torture of being eaten alive, is a ghastly method of execution reportedly used by the ancient Persians. It involves placing the condemned individual between two hollowed-out logs or boats, leaving only the head, hands, and feet exposed. The unfortunate victim was then force-fed a concoction of milk and honey, which not only induced severe diarrhea, but also attracted an array of insects and vermin. Bound in a manner that allowed no movement or defense, the victim languished as insects were drawn to feed upon the person's flesh, eventually leading to a prolonged and agonizing death. The significance of this form of torture lies in its reflection of the sheer cruelty and psychological terror that human beings can inflict, serving as a stark reminder of the darker aspects of human history. Scaphism's primary importance in the context of torture and punishment is not just in the horror it evokes, but in its demonstration of the lengths to which individuals and regimes might go to maintain power, instill fear, or intimidate enemies. Historically, Scaphism has been cited in ancient texts, with one account involving Mithridates, a Persian soldier, sentenced to this fate for murdering King Artaxerxes II's brother. In literature, the chilling account of Scaphism helps researchers and historians understand the cultural and judicial practices of ancient civilizations, illustrating how extreme brutality was sometimes sanctioned as an official method of punishment. This form of execution isn't just a gruesome footnote in history. It raises relevant questions about the morality and ethics of torture methods, both past and present. While no modern society endorses such barbaric practices, the knowledge of Scaphism and similar methods underscores the importance of human rights initiatives and legal protections against cruel and unusual punishment today. However, there is some debate about the historical accuracy of these accounts, with some scholars arguing they may have been exaggerated or fictionalized, serving propagandistic purposes to mythologize Persian cruelty. Critically examining Scaphism also encourages discourse on how societies define cruelty and humanity. While some might view these ancient methods as unthinkable relics, they prompt reflection on contemporary issues like prison conditions and ethical considerations surrounding capital punishment. Exploring these historical practices connects to broader discussions about justice, governance, and the evolving standards of what is considered humane treatment of individuals across different eras and cultures. Scaphism, also known as the boats, is an ancient method of execution and torture, reportedly used by the Persians, wherein the victim is trapped between two boats or hollowed-out tree trunks. They are forced to ingest milk and honey, while the same mixture is smeared on their body. This leads to a gruesome death caused by a combination of exposure, dehydration, starvation, and an infestation of insects attracted to the sweet substances. The sheer brutality of this method illustrates the extent of human cruelty and inventiveness when it comes to torture. The historical context of Scaphism provides a deeper understanding of the primitive yet sophisticated nature of ancient Persian societies. It reflects not only their ingenuity in developing multiple instruments of torture, but also the lengths to which they would go to deter enemies or punish offenders. This particular method of execution is significant on the topic of torture, as it exemplifies the extreme ways in which humans have historically exploited nature to create suffering, adding a visceral dimension to the study of historical cruelty and justice systems. Two specific examples underscore its notoriety. One involving Mithridates, a Persian soldier who was supposedly executed using Scaphism for killing Cyrus the Younger, and the other recounts the tale of Callistus, a Roman general condemned to death by Scaphism. These stories, though debated in terms of historical accuracy, serve to amplify the horror associated with this practice. These instances illustrate the method's purported deterrent effect, acting as a grim warning to any who might consider treason or rebellion. The accounts of Scaphism have drawn various opinions, with some historians considering it to be more myth than reality, a tool of wartime propaganda designed to evoke barbarism among enemies. Skeptics argue that the lack of concrete archaeological evidence makes it challenging to completely affirm these tales. However, the vividness and consistency of the descriptions in ancient texts suggest a mix of both historical and mythological elements. There are controversies regarding the authenticity of Scaphism, as a routine method of punishment. Critics suggest that its sensational nature might have been exaggerated over time. Furthermore, ethical considerations arise when reflecting on the morals and values of past societies through this lens. Yet despite these debates, the concept remains an important facet in understanding the darker inclinations of human history. Scaphism influences broader studies of ancient punitive measures, crime deterrence, and societal control. It connects with the broader theme of human suffering, the role of fear as a societal regulator, and poses questions about the human capacity for cruelty. A grim reminder of the brutal realities that once shaped societies, and a symbolic representation of ancient fears and warnings against the gravest of transgressions. Scaphism, also known as the boats, was an ancient and brutal form of execution designed to cause prolonged suffering. This method was reportedly practiced in ancient Persia and involved trapping the victim between two boats or hollowed-out tree trunks, leaving only the head, hands, and feet exposed. The unfortunate individual would be force-fed milk and honey, both to induce severe diarrhea and to attract insects. The victim would eventually succumb to a combination of factors, including exposure, dehydration, starvation, septic shock, and the relentless attack of insects attracted by the excrement. The significance of understanding the mechanics and process of scaphism lies in its embodiment of the extremes of human cruelty and resourcefulness in punishment. It serves as a grotesque testament to the lengths societies will go to enforce power and instill fear. By understanding the nuances of scaphism, we not only unearth dark chapters of history, but also contemplate the evolution of justice systems and the moral responsibilities we hold. While direct historical accounts of scaphism are scarce, references exist in ancient texts. For instance, the 4th century historian Plutarch describes the execution of Mithridates, a Persian soldier under the orders of King Artaxerxes II. Mithridates endured the torture for 17 days, illustrating the method's slow and heinous effectiveness. Such accounts highlight how the punishment manifested as a form of terrifying public spectacle, deterring actions perceived as treacherous or insubordinate. Critics and historians often debate the accuracy and existence of scaphism, arguing over the reliability of ancient sources. Some suggest the descriptions might have been exaggerated or propagandist tales told by rival civilizations. Moreover, ethical considerations reflect on whether such discussions benefit historical understanding or merely sensationalize human depravity. Despite the contentious nature surrounding scaphism's historical accuracy, its concept underscores themes of power, punishment, and morality that are interwoven with broader topics of judicial practices and human rights. It challenges us to question how societies balance retribution with human compassion. Moreover, examining ancient punitive measures can influence modern discourse on torture and offer insights into the psychological and societal impacts of using terror as a deterrent. Ultimately, delving into scaphism compels us to reflect on our values and the justice systems we uphold, urging a contemplation of both historical and contemporary practices. Scaphism, a term derived from the Greek word for boat, refers to an ancient Persian method of execution that involved trapping a person between two boats or hollowed-out tree trunks, force-feeding them a mixture of milk and honey, and allowing them to be gradually devoured by insects and vermin over several days. This gruesome form of torture was designed as a punishment for heinous crimes and served as a formidable deterrent, showcasing the power and cruelty of the ruling authority. The cultural significance of scaphism lies in its reflection of the values and beliefs of ancient civilizations, emphasizing the barbarically creative lengths to which they would go to inflict suffering and assert dominance. Historically, it exemplifies the broader theme of human cruelty and the complex relationship between justice and punishment. One notable historical account involves Mithridates, a soldier who was subjected to scaphism after boasting about killing King Cyrus the Younger. This example illustrates the extent to which rulers would go to punish those perceived as threats to their power. Another account details the use of scaphism as a punishment for those guilty of patricide, highlighting the perceived need to maintain societal order through extreme measures. These examples underscore the concept of deterrence prevalent in cultures that employed such brutal methods. Opinions on Scaphism are understandably varied, with some viewing it as the ultimate form of barbaric cruelty, while others might argue that such extreme measures were necessary reflections of the harsh realities faced by ancient societies in maintaining control and authority. However, even in its own time, Scaphism was controversial due to its excessive brutality, sparking debate over ethical and moral boundaries in the exercise of justice. Challenges associated with studying Scaphism include the scarcity of reliable historical records and potential exaggerations in the accounts that do exist. The sensational nature of the punishment often leads to debates on its exaggerated portrayal or even its very existence as a cultural practice, given the lack of detailed archaeological evidence. This skepticism highlights the broader challenge of discerning historical accuracy from anecdotal legend. The discussion of Scaphism connects to larger conversations on the evolution of punitive systems and the development of human rights. It serves as a stark reminder of the brutal past and influences modern discussions on cruelty, punishment, and justice. Understanding such practices helps illuminate the paths societies have taken towards more humane and just systems, contributing to our ongoing discourse on ethics and human dignity.